Good morning, everybody. I want to especially, as I look around the room here and just see all of you and recall visiting with you in your board meetings at each of your jurisdictional get-togethers, I really want to thank you on behalf of the entire NCARB staff for your service to the public as we remind ourselves what you're doing is so important to protecting their health, safety, and welfare. I want to thank you for your service in each of your jurisdictions. And I do want you to know that in each of my visits to your boards, I've been left with a lasting impression. You and your colleagues have clearly indicated that you're dedicated to your work on your boards, to your profession, and you're passionate about this, and you're deeply committed to the ethics of what you do. And I always come back from these meetings and I report back to our staff how hard you work and how important it is for our staff to remember that our primary focus is to support each of you. So you will be hearing and have been hearing and seeing a lot of a reference to the concept of what we call going further at this annual business meeting. Over the past couple of years, our staff has been involved in designing a new set of values and what we call a single organizing idea that captures our spirit and motivates our work. Let's go further is a phrase we used very successfully at our booth at the recent AIA convention. You will see this phrase used when we conduct outreach, and it serves as a focal point for our staff to chart our course. We are able to go further because we have a strong partnership with our board of directors, our volunteer committees, and our member boards. All of this has enabled our staff to be hyper-focused on supporting efforts to reform and revitalize our programs. This has been hard work and not without challenges and course corrections along the way. But as hard as we've worked on laying a new foundation, I want to share with all of you how we will build out and up toward a future vision. This future vision is based on how we will work with you to apply feedback from strategic planning and ongoing engagement. This feedback points us in some important and exciting directions. First, as we wrap up key programmatic adjustments, we must now focus on the hard work of implementation and making sure that our refreshed programs are sustainable. This means lots of staff work to build systems which provide superior customer service and the flexibility to customize whatever road each of our member boards chooses to travel. This means consistent outreach and communications, focused on clarifying and guiding the emerging professional community and those who supervise, mentor, and track their progress. This also means new conversations with you and with others regarding the complexities of legislative action. As a first step, we will be talking next week with the AIA State Government Network, composed of the state component lobbying community, regarding a strategic approach toward statutory updates to support our programs in states where such activity would be welcomed. Second, this means applying our same approach of careful streamlining toward our business model. We have embarked upon establishing clarity and simplification to our fee schedule, which Treasurer Christine Harding will address shortly. We will explore ways to incentivize growth in the number of certificate holders and to expedite ARE completion. We will finalize the modernization of our systems and make data work for all of us. We will step out smartly during this time of economic prosperity to bolster our reserves and then be unafraid to use those reserves for developmental initiatives to ensure the future value of the Council. We will continue to seek direction from our board of directors regarding prioritizing both future spending and future initiatives, keeping us facing forward and strategically positioned. Third, much as we see in better conditioned athletes, NCARB is now positioned to extend our reach, expand our vision, and truly go further. This has come about through our work to improve our support systems, our service capacity, our outreach presence, and our thought leadership. Our season of experimentation and reform regarding emerging professionals has prepared us to pivot toward the licensed architect community. This means adding more benefits beyond reciprocity to the advantages of having an NCARB certificate. This means deeper outreach into firms and the architect opinion leader community. We need their help to fully mentor the next generation, celebrate licensure, and engage their peers. Aspiring and practicing architects can go further, knowing that NCARB is more transparent, more agile, and thus more relevant. And this also means a renewed focus on the challenges facing our member boards. NCARB can step up to help member boards go further and remind everyone of their essential role in shaping the profession. Our improved condition has also established us as a leading voice within the greater regulatory community. Our approach to underscoring the value of licensure has an impact far beyond the borders of architectural licensing. Our efficiencies can benefit state and jurisdictional functions holistically. And in this age of questioning regulation and challenging the value of rules, we have the data and the vision to both persuade and affirm. Let me share some key data points with you from the latest edition of NCARB by the numbers. We are excited about this new edition, which provides more analysis and covers some new territory. Here's some highlights. A new chapter profiles each of your jurisdictions with 4 data sets comparing you to national averages. On the screen, we have an example. We expect to expand this service for those of you ready to share data with us, providing an online dashboard for each of you to log onto. Deeper dives into this data will help you at the licensing board level prepare for review that might be requested by your legislatures, by your governors, or by your fellow citizens. So please visit our data table to give us feedback. Another new section starts to assess issues related to diversity in the profession. On the screen, we show that minorities made up 41% of the talent pool in 2014. This compares to 38% who make up the US population based on the 2010 census data. Our current data is 5 years ahead of census data, which means that we are likely on par with national data regarding diversity. Our performance statistics are remarkable. These numbers show that our forecasts are not flukes, but actual patterns. These trends are mythbusters and continue to fly in the face of pessimistic anecdotes. To paraphrase Mark Twain, the story of the profession's death is greatly exaggerated. Here are some key statistics. The number of licensed architects is at a record high, based on our survey of member boards. 37,000 aspiring architects are currently reporting experience and/or testing. Over 3,500 completed IDP in 2014. Over 3,700 completed the ARE in 2014. And today we are closing in on nearly 40,000 active certificate holders, the highest point in our council's history. As you have heard from your elected leaders and many others in this room, we believe we can remove unnecessary impediments to licensure without reducing rigor. We now have shorter retest waiting times, more accessible record keeping, improved outreach and customer service, and experience that counts immediately and that can be credited to up to 5 years. With all of these changes, bolstered by an improved economy and committed volunteers, our Get It Done message is truly being received. In 1 year alone, participation is up, and the average time to complete IDP has already been shaved by 7 months, reducing the total time to licensure. We have a lot more to show you, so make sure you read and share a copy of NCARB by the numbers and direct folks to the online version. As a new feature this year, we will begin to provide data sets for each chart in NCARB by the numbers in downloadable format so they can be repurposed for reports by our members or any interested parties. In the past year alone, entities as diverse as the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics and the Wall Street Journal are turning to us for the information critical to their work. And speaking of what's critical, here's an important point to make. We are working every day in ways big and small to protect the licensure framework that you have established and nurtured for almost 100 years. We will continue to question what I call upstart organizations with so-called alternative approaches, which fail to respect the role of our licensing boards. Such approaches ignore our peer-driven process. Their supporters display an ignorance and an arrogance which can mislead students and endanger the public. We will remain vigilant and eager to assert the value of our partnership with you. The regulatory process is always open to criticism. NCARB stands ready to absorb constructive criticism and to rebut critics who are uninformed. We stand ready to uphold the performance of our member boards as distinct from the facts surrounding the recent U.S. Supreme Court decision involving a state dental board who acted outside its scope and without the engagement of its state government. As another example, I recently had the opportunity to educate economic advisor staff at the White House regarding the necessary rigor of architectural licensing and the ability of NCARB and its member boards to facilitate reciprocal licensure and remove unnecessary impediments without the assistance of the federal government. We will continue to apply our improved skills and stronger voice to question inaccurate reporting and to assert our role as thought leaders. But here's the most important number of all that I want to share with you. 35,000. That's the number of volunteer hours that all of you and your colleagues have spent working on NCARB committees, boards, and task forces, demonstrating the level of effort applied by the profession to helping you to protect the public. It's been my privilege to spend time with many of you and watch you in action. And at this annual meeting, I'd like to close with celebrating a milestone. 4 years ago, we promised to do something that was long overdue, actually physically come to your board meetings. Just a few weeks ago, we reached number 54. We started in North Dakota 4 years ago and ended a few weeks ago in South Dakota. Starting from the middle of the country, we heard discussions, we broke bread, and we worked to forge closer relationships. For nearly all of these visits, I want to thank my colleague, my partner in crime, Kathy Hilligas, for accompanying me, and occasionally by other members of our team and or our board leaders. Their support has been invaluable. Thank you.